And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Well, thank you for tuning in again to the Weighing In podcast, where Josh Thompson and I are going to be talking about some of the upcoming fights. We've got the PFL coming up with Anthony Pettis once again against Stevie Ray. And we've got the UFC with Jamal Hill taking on Thiago Santos. Should be a good fight. We're going to talk about that and a bunch of other stuff going on in the world of combat sports. My man is still sitting in his backyard waiting for those rabbits to get done.
They are getting after it. Let me just tell you, since the last time I saw you guys, they've had a litter of 23 to 25 kids, and they're reproducing again already, just like they were the other day behind my right shoulder. It was great, man. It was like, actually, there was a ton of people in the comments, because I do read the comments. You guys all know that, the ones that are hardcore listeners. And I go through, and occasionally I'll just comment on something, but someone goes, "Hey, were those rabbits doing the ... And just left it. It was so great. But you're right. We've got some big time fights coming up. We've got Anthony Pettis making a return against someone who actually beat him against Stephen Ray. Submitted him, which is it's not easy to do. Pettis may be one of those guys who is extremely talented. He's good all the way around, and obviously former champion WEC, former UFC champion, trying to become the PFL champion. But he's one of those guys you just can't. Submitting him is kind of like the guys have grinded him out and held him down, but I don't recall him ever being submitted. Can you recall someone submitting him?
No,
I don't recall someone submitting him. So
it could be.
Look,
Dave, pull up his record real quick. I want to find something out, because it is weird when you look at it, because he is a super talented guy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But
He's got
what
3 sub-losses.
What's that?
3 sub losses.
Submission, yeah.
Okay,
3 submission losses.
Scroll down.
Okay, so scroll down to his.
Is that pre-WC and pre-UFC? Where is it?
Well, this is my whole thing. Is
Stephen Ray was one, but
1, 2, 3. Hold on. Keep going down.
Diego Ferreira.
4, beat Michael Chiesa. And beat Michael Chiesa with a submission.
Dustin Poirier beat
Crazy.
submission.
Yeah, Dustin
Dustin
Poirier.
beat him with
That's
submission.
it.
Triangle. Interesting.
Body triangle. What the hell is that?
We got a body truck maybe on his back.
What?
No,
he didn't tap
the Shoney Carter. No, remember, I do actually recall that. I think that was the last fight against Stephen Ray where his rib popped out.
Yeah.
He hurt his rib. Yeah, that was the Stephen Ray thing, yeah. No, that's it. He only had 3, right?
That's it right there. That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey. All right. Well, look, before we get too much into the fight and the breakdowns, I am still in Texas, as you guys all can see behind me, at the house, and I'm on this makeshift table. And it's great, man. I didn't, like, you don't realize how big Texas is until I started driving.
People do realize how big Texas
I just don't. Then I don't.
just
I don't.
you.
Okay, I don't. I can drive to Nevada in 3-4 hours from my place in California.
Yeah,
Here,
you can't drive across Texas in 3 or 4 hours.
There's no way. I was like, I drove from Vegas to Texas was like, I don't know, 6 hours, maybe longer, 7 hours, something like that. But then from Texas, from the state line to Dallas was another 6 hours, almost 7 hours. You're like, I split my drive in half, and it was hilarious. Anyways, you don't realize how far it is until how big Texas is until you're trying to drive the middle of it. The weather's cooled down the last 2 days. It hasn't been extremely hot, but it's been hot. That or I'm getting used to it, which might be the case. Went fishing yesterday. Caught a big catfish. Caught a big bass also. Very nice. I mean, what I mean by big is the catfish was probably 13, 14 inches long, probably 4 pounds. A little fat piece of shit. Fucking thing was like, it was plump like Podcast Dave.
He was showing you your future.
Yeah. And then the bass was a pretty good size too. I'd say 12, 13 inches, pretty good. It's all catch and release because in the community that I live in, It's all they've got 19 little like lakes that are all filled with fish, and then it's all just catch and release. It's pretty cool, man.
That's good.
Cool, pretty cool little setup. I'm liking it so far. I go to this little place. The only thing I don't like so far is the coffee spots, man. They don't open until like 7. I'm like, who the fuck? It's 7 o'clock. Like, dude, like I'm up by like 4:30.
7 o'clock. The day is half done.
Yeah, I'm like, what the? Like, I'm already ready for my nap. Bro, I need coffee earlier than that. This is ridiculous. That's why when you guys see me at 7 a.m. in Texas drinking a fucking Coke, it's because there's no coffee open place. I have to drive like another 20 minutes just to get coffee at Dutch Brothers to the drive-through. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I ain't getting up that early. So the two coffee places I like are closed.
Stop. No. Okay, this is what's wrong with you. Okay, I've got to go to the Dutch Brothers, or I've got to go to Phil's, which I don't blame you. Phil's is fantastic.
Of course
but
it is.
Josh, my man, when I want coffee, there's a gas station right down the road. I go to the gas station.
Nah, that's right.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Always there, always open. Coffee.
Yeah. John, you know what?
Release the prude.
I knew this is why I kept you around for great ideas like this. I'm telling you guys. Sometimes I wonder. I just question myself why I keep Big John around. But then you know what? Guy. Then he comes out with something like this, just absolute brilliant. I love it. You know, I'm gonna start calling you before I'm. Yeah, for more advice.
I'm here for you, brother.
Thank you. Meanwhile, podcast day was in Maui for the last.
I don't even want to talk to him.
7 days.
I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk about him. He's complaining. Oh, his flight was delayed an hour. Oh my God.
Gosh, welcome to our
Jesus.
So you travel with a 9-month-old and a 3-month-old.
Oh yeah, we've never done that. Don't tell me you travel.
Hey,
what the hell do you think we've done our whole lives?
Dave, you got all the benefits to making those babies. Enjoy them, okay? I don't want to hear any complaints. I don't want to hear any complaints right now, buddy. You got all the benefits to it. So, but then how was Maui, brother? It's a little humid over there as well right now, but I mean, you guys stayed at a nice little resort. I saw it was beautiful, man. Your view was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well, we we did the Hana drive, so we stayed at a resort on the Lahaina side, I think Kaanapali, and then
Kaanapali.
Dude, come on,
my God, you Scottish
guy. Talk to a Scottish guy here. Yeah, come on. I can barely say Texas properly.
So great.
So and then we drove around. We did the Hana drive. We stayed in Hana for one night. We a full day and then a full next day. And just I don't know if you guys have been there, but there's nothing there. Yeah. So just
it's beautiful,
enjoy
man.
The beaches.
The road to Hana.
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of waterfalls.
We did the. I went with Rich. I went with Rich Chow last night and his family and stuff. We went out to the Texas Rangers game. That stadium is beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Holy shit, that stadium is nice. I mean, you can see the game from anywhere on any deck, like the full. Yeah, it's just open. It's just
the only problem with it is they play baseball there. That's the problem. I'm just kidding.
No, it was actually fun. They got blown out. I think it was like 7-1 when we left, or 6-1 when we left, I think. But it was fun. There's a cool little restaurant right outside. There's a bunch of them, but there's one little cool one that we stopped in and got some good food. The food here is fucking spectacular. And I've never been a fried chicken person, but I mean, tell you right now, Texas may make me one. Oh, because they do this honey dusted like fried chicken. Fuck. So with a little bit of sweet chili. Oh
no! What we're talking about, and this is why I said, as soon as you move there, that catfish, the pounds, dude, you're putting them on, baby. First off, Texas food they got some great food, the portions, are large.
We've been like you just called me bougie, but I've been to a couple bougie restaurants. So the portions aren't as large at the bougie restaurants, but they're just as expensive. Bougie restaurants. Yeah, I get it. But then they had a really good not pulled pork, brisket breakfast tacos.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, it was so good, John. My mouth I was just talking about it right now. My mouth is watering. I'm like, holy shit. If it wasn't so far from my house, I'd go every day, but it's so far. It's at the Star, which is about 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away.
The humidity makes you sweat more, so you'll lose more weight. So you just run off the fried chicken.
I love your logic, but it's not true.
My diet is pizza and fried chicken, and I'm closest to a 6-pack I've ever been. So
Yeah, this is great. No, you run a lot though, buddy. You run. Don't try to kid it. I mean, it's all like it's all over 8-minute miles, but whatever, we get it.
It's all sub 12-minute miles, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
sub 12 minutes. Yeah,
you run 5 miles at 110 and get like given that pace, and we'll see.
Yeah, it's super easy. Super easy.
What the?
All right. Well, hey, let's. We talked enough about having some fun. Dave enjoyed Maui. I'm enjoying Texas. Big John's enjoying the heat in Tennessee, and Miss McCarthy's demanding requests to get things done around the house. So let's go ahead and get started on the podcast. It's so great. I just text when I can't get a hold of you. I text her. I'm like, hey, what do you have him working on today? She's like, well, he's building me this. He's building me that. I was like, start laughing. I'm like, man, can you get a break?
Nope.
Can you get
No
a
breaks.
break?
No breaks.
She's like, yeah, to film the podcast, you can get a break. All right. Well, hey, let's get right into the PFL, Anthony Pettis and Stephen Ray, man. It's a rematch.
Yeah, it is a rematch.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to say it. First off, I love both guys. I love Anthony Pettis. Stevie Ray put on a great performance in his last fight. But this is what's wrong with the PFL. It's the same as Bellator's rankings. Ridiculous. It's all fucking ridiculous. You wonder why. You get a freaking clue. How do you have a guy make the playoffs? And I love Anthony. I'm not saying that, but he's in the playoffs and is put against the guy who just submitted him. Does that make sense? Does that make your playoffs sound logical? It doesn't. It just makes him look stupid, and it makes your whole concept look stupid. Because, Josh, it's stupid. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. You have people in last season, they had Chris Camozzi beats the guy who fucking goes into the playoffs, and Chris Camozzi doesn't. It's like, it's just dumb.
That's weird to me. But then I also look at it kind of like it's the last part of the NFL season. Those guys at the end, they play against each other, and then they still play against each other in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
No, come on. This is not the NFL, and it's not fucking football. This is fighting. Both of these guys' last fight was against who? Each other.
I think each other. Yeah.
Exactly. Josh, how do you say, we're going to have an immediate rematch in a fight where the guy that you expected to win, he got submitted, and it was a clean submission. It was a clean win. How does that garner an immediate rematch?
Yeah. See here, John, this is kind of, I think, this is what baffles me a little bit. Is not like they can choose as a promotion. They can choose to move them all around. Like in the NFL, right? They have their way that they always do their playoff setup. I don't follow the PFL enough to know how they actually make their playoff setup, but I believe they can choose. I think it's still the number one, whoever the number one guy is, faces the last guy, but I think they can still choose. There's only 4 people?
Yeah.
4 or 8 people in the playoff, I believe. Anyways, so these ones are in the playoffs, and then, I mean, look, when I look at this fight, let's just talk about the fight, because John can go on all day about how their stuff is not right. The thing is they are the PFL. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to make these adjustments to try and give Pettis his automatic rematch. I look at it as like this fight would have been better had they both made it to the finals. That would have been nice. That would have been nice. Fine. But I think they want to try to capitalize in situations like this. They want to try to capitalize on the fact that, one, the outcome be different? It's like, we just saw that fight. But if you go back and watch that fight, John, Pettis was having his way with him. He wasn't having his way. Let me take that back. He wasn't having his way. But he was ahead. He was striking him. Winning, he was touching him up.
It was a competitive fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was competitive. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Anthony Pettis wasn't possibly winning the fight. I can't say. I wasn't the judge there, but I would say that yes, he was ahead. But it doesn't. Nothing here garners the reason to say, we should have a rematch where these guys go right back because this is the playoffs. Then your playoffs are a mess.
Yeah.
if, like you said, Anthony and Stevie Ray end up in the finals against each other in a rematch, hey, I'm the first person to say, no, that's great. That's awesome. But in this position, no, it makes no sense. It's stupid.
So I've noticed, though, that companies like the PFL that won Bellator, we get a lot more flack for things that we think that we're doing properly, when in fact we're doing it basically the same way that the UFC is doing it, but we don't get the credit for doing it that way, or we're trying to do it better than what the UFC is doing it, and that goes for all of them across the board, and we still get a lot of flack for it. So it doesn't matter what the promotions do outside of it; they're always going to get criticized. I'll give you an example. Like, we put a lot of focus, because I want to clarify some of this that happened the other day when we did our show, is we have to clarify that, you're right. The UFC does take their rankings from the media, because we were saying that, I think you said that they didn't, but they do. But what they don't do, though, exactly. And I've had conversations with the people at Bellator, and we've had these conversations about, hey, why don't we do the same thing? Why don't we? Because we can't. Because the media will say, hey, we didn't do that. Hey, we didn't do that. And what are you going to do? Bellator can't shut them out. PFL can't shut the media out like as if the UFC can. So you run into a problem where the media then will start questioning your rankings and what the level is. But here's the problem. The reason why the rankings suck so bad in the Bellator or any other situation, any other promotion that has these rankings, and they allow the media to do it, is because those media people don't actually fucking watch the fights. They just talk, they just proved it by having Alexander Shabley ranked behind Brent Primus after he just knocked him out they're the last fight between each other. That just proved it to me. Okay. There's other fighters in there as well. I think Tofik is ranked, is right there ranked with Sidney Outlaw after he just finished him in 19 seconds or 29 seconds. It's all of these things make a big difference. Bellator is basically saying, hey, I can't allow, or we can't change the rankings because the media, we want it to be independent. Well, the UFC is independent as well from their rankings from the media, but they still no. How are you going to, if Dana White saw these guys ranked behind it, he'd be like, fuck, you can't do that. He would change it. We don't do that. We allow the media to go ahead and continue to, I'd love to know who these freaking media guys are. I'd really like to know.
Then let's do this. Let's pat Dana on the back and say, way to go, Dana. At least you got the common sense to do that the right way.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, but there's a lot more criticism for other promotions like of course. PFL, and for us and for Bellator and this and that. So it's a shitty situation to be in. They're trying to do it as best they can, but they don't get the love because it's like, oh, you're not the UFC. But like you said, Dana and them, and not just Dana, but the organization, they change their rankings to fit what is right. And that's, you gotta, like you said, pat them on the back and let them know, like, hey, this is the way it's supposed to look. I don't mind if you would have just changed Primus and Shabley, around and made it one behind. I'd be okay with that. Whatever. But he's ranked ahead of him. I'm like, this is not even, I don't understand it. Anyways, let's get back into the Stephen Ray fight and the Pettis fight before I keep going on about our fucking rankings.
Well, then let's go back to the first fight that they had.
Piss me off. Okay, go back to the first fight.
All right. And you said that, Anthony Pettis was walking away dominating. No, he was not.
He was winning pretty handily.
He was winning,
okay,
but he wasn't dominating him. Stevie Ray was getting his moments in there. Anthony had his moments. But when it hit the ground, look, Stevie Ray did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
He got that win, and he got that submission, and it was a good submission, and you got to give him credit. You got to say, hey, maybe this is that one fight, and similar to Juliana Pena against Amanda Nunes, maybe it wasn't Anthony's night, and the next one will be, and it'll be a different outcome. But I just, again, take a look and say, this is a fight that should have happened. If they're going to have it happen, then both these guys win their way to the finals. For it to happen, it just doesn't make sense to me to have it here. But, what happens when Stevie Ray, and this is my question to you, what happens when Stevie Ray beats him again? What does that do to Anthony Pettis in the PFL?
I don't know. I mean, he's making a lot of money.
He's making a lot of money. So who are you ever going to look at Anthony Pettis and say, this guy should be the champion in the PFL at some time because it's a new season? Would you want to see him against Stevie Ray a third time if Stevie Ray beat him the second time?
Yeah, but John, you have to remember this. Every year we watch the same fucking football teams play and the same basketball teams play.
This is not football.
Same shit.
No, because football teams change every year. Every year there's new players.
So is their skills. Their fighters and skill level changes every year. That's the point of being a fighter.
Okay, John, well then you're saying everything we need to know.
You're being like Podcast Dave. Came in here with all this negative energy from Maui, I swear. I don't know what's going on today. Okay? Bring the juice, baby. Bring the good stuff. Look, I agree with you. It does get a little frustrating, but when you only have a certain, like, John, let's go back into this. They only have a handful of fighters at a level that can compete at a good level. And it's no different with Bellator. I'd say our top 5-6 fighters can hang. I will always say this.
Did you say hang?
Not in every weight class. I said hang. I meant
you
to say
said hangle.
Can hang with any other fighters in any other promotion. But it's only the top 5 or 6. You get past that, it's just we're not deep enough. And the PFL is even less deep. They've got like a top 3, 4. It's the same guys always in the finals. Ray Cooper and Magomed Karamov. They're all in the same. Those guys are in the finals almost every single time, and they're always in the playoffs. You're going to have Rory always in the playoffs. You're always going to have Pettis in the playoffs. They're always going to be there. Whether it happens for them that night or not, it's up. I guess it's how much they've evolved their game from season to season. I don't know. But this is what you're going to get with the PFL because they're not deep enough, like no different than Bellator outside of like the top 6 or 8. Now, when we do our tournaments, we do them based off the fact that those divisions at the time are the deepest. We did bantamweights. Now look what we're doing. I would want to bet. I don't want to bet, but I would almost be, I would think though too, that lightweight would be next because it's so stacked. The lightweight division in Bellator is becoming stacked. Just a year ago, there was like one person or 2 people that I was like, man, these guys are good. But those 2 people, they didn't even have a division. Now you got Tofik. Now you've got Shabli. Now you've got Usman. Now you've got these other 2 guys that we signed that are really good. You've got all these guys. I'm like, you got Patrick. I would like to even throw Patricio in that mix if he wanted to be in there. You know what I mean? Like, you've got good guys though at 55. So anyways, this is one of those situations you're going to end up, they're not stacked in the division. So it's like you're going to end up with the same guys. Lance Palmer, he's been there how many times? He's won it twice. He's been to the finals multiple times. He's been in the playoffs almost every single time. You got Bubba Jenkins. So one day maybe Bubba may win it, but we're gonna see. He continues to get better. He does get better as he gets older. He seems to be like fine wine. He seems to keep getting better. So he's doing well. With Pettis, I think you just got to find the fire with him. Okay, that's all. I think in that first fight, I think he realized the mistakes he made. He seemed really relaxed in that position where he thought he was going to be able to just kind of hang out and get out, and it didn't happen. And next thing you know, he's getting submitted. And I think that was more of a rib thing than it was an actual like.
No, I think he got hurt.
Yeah. So all those things being said, I think you're going to see a motivated Anthony Pettis to get this win and see if he can get this win this tournament. Yeah, at least get into the finals. Who else is there? I
would love to see him do well. I love Anthony Pettis as a fighter. I go back to the concept of why put this fight together. Look, Stevie Ray had a great win in the first one. We'll see what happens in this one. But at least Stevie Ray's got to be going into this with confidence. He's been in there with him. He knows. And I think that Anthony knows, hey, I need to be smart. I need to keep this on the feet. I need to move like I was moving, use my stand-up, and just pick him apart in the fight. If he does that, he can come away with the win. But Stevie Ray, he knows the blueprint to beat him too now. So,
yeah. Dave, am I too bright? Or is it?
You are a little bright. Yeah. What's going on in your background there?
No, nothing. It's the sun's coming up.
See, is this your way of bragging?
No.
I hope you guys are home.
Here comes the sun. Da-na-na-na.
Look at this. Look
now
at
he's
this.
trying to do this.
Yeah, look at the bragging here. Oh, the sun is about
look
too
at my
bright.
pool.
It's so beautiful here in Texas.
Look at my pool.
Look at my pool. Look at my gorgeous pool.
These guys.
Hey, Josh, put your hand over the camera, and then bring it away, and it might just refocus. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at the big brains on podcast, Dave.
I think we might just leave this in the show because it's gonna be.
No, please don't.
It's the only compliment. This is the only compliment he's ever going to get from me. Jesus, guy. Alrighty. So what other fights are on this card, buddy?
All right, let's go down here.
Akhmedov. Omari Akhmedov versus Joshua Silveira.
Yeah, that's a good fight. Joshua Silveira is a good fighter. He's a tough dude. He's undefeated at this point. His last fight, well, I think it was against Hamlet. This is one of those ones we've seen. Omari Akhmedov. He's strong. He's powerful. If he can be the hammer and just put pressure and force, Silveira back, he's got a good chance to win the fight. But Joshua Silveira, he understands what he's good at. I think he's going to use a lot of lateral movement. He's going to do good things to, create situations. And if there's one thing, his last fight was I want to say that he hurt Hamlet with a knee. I think he brought a knee up and then finished him off. Omari does that many times getting in the clinch. He'll bring his head to the side, and so look for Silveira to do the same thing. But this is a good matchup. I understand why it's there. It's an interesting matchup as far as stylistically. These guys they're different. They both have their ways of winning this. It's, in my opinion, Akhmedov has to be the bully in the fight, and it has to work for him.
Yep. Akhmedov is tough. He's someone that will like you said, he will bully.
Tough.
He will bully. He will walk you down, throw big shots. He will wrestle a little bit. He will try to get this fight to the ground, but he will land the big shots. He will throw. I've noticed that with a lot of Eastern Bloc fighters. They will come out throwing big heat, hoping to get you to duck your head. And when you do, they get to the front headlock or they get into the clinch, they get into the wrestling. They throw a lot of heavy shots because they know they got good cardio. Majority of them focus so much on their conditioning and just constantly working out that they're used to these type of positions of being able to push someone back against the fence. He will grind on you, but I think he's got the power advantage. I think he's also got the wrestling advantage for the top position, and he's the better wrestler / grappler.
No, I agree.
Look for that fight. Akhmedov is tough at 205. I mean. These guys.
Because normally he was fighting. UFC was fighting at 185.
Was he? I don't think so. I think it was 205. Dave,
did he fight?
Check that?
He fought Weidman, and was that at 185 or 205?
Maybe did he? Maybe it was 185.
Here, I need to click on the actual fight card to bring it up. So let me just do that. All right.
I think
it was middleweight. Yeah.
Oh, it was middleweight. Okay. Well. Huh. I mean, but he is somebody that will bully people around. He will try to put you back on your back foot and try to get those takedowns and land the big shots. He'll stand. He's got power, so that'll make for a very fun fight. Aubrey Mercer,
Oliver Abun Mercier. Yeah, he's going to try to do what he does. I hate to say it. People are going to say it. It's he's a good wrestler. And people are going to say he's going to wrestle fuck him. Well, that's his way of getting the win. And, and if he gets to the top position, he is a beast on top. He's hard to move. He's got good base and balance. Alex Martinez, we've seen, Alex got the win against, goddamn, it was Pettis? I'm trying to remember Alex's win that got him in the, who did Alex beat? I just lost my mind.
I don't think it was Pettis.
It wasn't Pettis.
I don't think so.
Clay Collard.
Clay Collard.
And he beat Stevie Ray as well.
And he beat Stevie Ray.
Yeah, but the Clay Collard fight was the one that was that split decision and stuff. So it was a good fight, man. Back and forth. It was good.
He beat Stephen Ray and Clay Collard.
Yeah.
Ooh, Alex Martinez is a man. What's he's
good.
Done?
The whole thing is he's got to have his takedown defense on point, keep, Mercier from being able to put him on his back. If he's on his back, he's losing. If he's not on his back, he's probably going to be winning this fight. His stand-up is cleaner. It's better. So this is a matter of who's able to control the position of the fight.
Yeah, OAM's got to get push the pace, put him on his back foot. But he's not a fast-paced fighter. He's got to wrestle him. I would say, like you said, wrestle fuck him, But he can stand. It's not like OAM's got bad stand up. He just shouldn't stand for too long and get into these big exchanges.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like Podcast Dave can throw one punch at me, okay, but he probably shouldn't throw two because I'll just jack his ass up. But you know what I mean. But no, so I mean, but John, when we talked about to start off this this segment about the PFL, this is why you watch those fights. Like Alex Martinez, this year he's gonna probably get into the finals if he beats OAM, which I think he will. He'll outpoint him, try to stick and move, stay off his back. He'll do those things. He'll probably be able to try to get back up to his feet quite a bit. All of those things. How much better will he be next year? Because he's fought these same guys. He knows what to expect. The understanding of what the fighters, who you're fighting, and understanding their timing, their speed, all of those things can make for great fights. I really feel like certain fights, like you look at all the trilogy fights that ended up being great fights, is because you already knew how fast they were. You kind of already knew how hard they hit. You knew you could take their punch. You knew like mistakes you could make and things you had to do. And then your game plan slightly changed here or there. It's up to these fighters though to deliver. And that's the biggest thing is you know your opponent. There's no reason for you not to go out there and try and fucking knock their block off because you already know what they're good at. So I'm just trying to I'm trying to be the positive side today, okay?
Boy,
John's
you
brought
are.
the negative Nancy. I mean, I'm trying to bring the positive side to this show today. No, it's just really. I feel like these fighters need to understand. You know them. Go out there and let it hang out. And if you come up short, guess what? Next year is still around. It's just right there. And I know you don't want to lose now, but like in the UFC, right? You may get one shot. Be at Bellator, you may get one shot at the title. And if that shot's gone, like Sidney Outlaw, he just lost his chance at the title. He may never get back there, John.
That's true.
If Sidney Outlaw was in the PFL, he'd be there every single year.
Yeah.
It's almost like no consequences. Oh, I lost. You know what? I'll see you next year. I guess that's the only dig I have on it. Sometimes these guys are not taking advantage of that and going, you know what? Next year I'm going to be better. I'm going to win that fucking thing. And the year after that, I'm going to win that thing again. And just start stacking money. Some of them are like, "Oh man, I came up short." You know what? There's always next year. That's the problem with That's the problem with the PFL setup when you're talking about fighters. That's what I think the problem is. That you somewhat have somewhat of a similar problem with when you get into the major leagues, whether it's baseball, whether it's football, whether it's the same type of shit. These guys are like, "Oh, you know what? Next year." I wasn't feeling it today. I'm going to sit out. Oh, my thumb hurt. I'm not going to play basketball today. You know, so, I mean, it could be this way as well with the PFL. These guys got to start stepping up and fighting a little bit harder. I know they're fighting their asses off. Some of them, they show it every single time. And some of them, I think in the back of their mind go, you know what? Today's not my day. I'm going to fight next year. And not all of them. I'm being a little, now I am being a little more.
Oh,
like
a little
John
negative
there,
Nancy there.
right
Thank
there.
you very much.
But all of these fighters should know exactly who they are fighting because they've probably seen them before, but not only seen them, but they've been in the cage with them before in this repetitive playoffs pitcher type thing. So let it all hang out, man. These are the best fights. This is your opportunity to shine in the playoff pitcher. And so I want these guys to fight their asses off. I saw in that last round, it was Mercer versus
But hold on. And this
who was the
makes
winner
sense.
last?
Do me a favor, Dave. Pull up Mercier.
Yeah, his last fight.
Yeah.
When he fought the guy who won it last year, but they were both in the playoffs.
Yeah, Raj Monfils, where it was horrible. Horrible fight.
Yeah, they just stood around. They were both in the playoffs.
Okay, so then tell me, just answer me this, and this is what I'm talking about with the PFL, is OAM has 2 wins this season in the PFL. Alex Martinez has 2 wins this season in the PFL. Pettis and Stevie Ray are 1-1. Why are you having the guys that are undefeated in your season against each other and the guys that are 1-1 against each other?
True. This is true. They pick and choose.
They pick and choose.
They pick and choose. Yeah.
They want this fight.
Mm-hmm. You may see OAM versus Pettis, which I don't know, man.
Should
Pettis
it
on his
not
back.
be? You know, I don't. Either way, it should actually be Pettis should be fighting Martinez. Because you got OAM, he hasn't fought Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray fought both Pettis and fought Martinez. So why not put it to where you got to, no one's faced each other. It's in your playoffs. I don't know. I'm causing waves and I shouldn't, and I don't mean to be. It just doesn't make sense to me.
We're asking questions, John, and these are
Doesn't
questions
make
that
sense to me.
these are questions we'd like answered, because here's the thing. We're not the media, so we don't go chatting with people behind doors, except for the people, and we do.
Well, yeah,
but we don't go seeking them out to be like, hey, do an interview. We don't do that. If we run into you at events, then we run into you at events, and we talk to you. That's how this works. So, but yeah. Anyways, okay. So the next fight. Is there any other fights on this card you want to see? Let me see. Let's walk through it, John.
go ahead, pick your fight.
Pick my
You're not gonna know any of these guys for the most part.
John, I don't know any of these guys.
See, I told you. Corey
Where did the
Hendricks,
rest of the guys go?
tough dude. He's fighting Hamlet, who was knocked out by Silveira. It's a good matchup, actually. It's a good competitive fight. I think it'll be a fight that I would watch, but no one, there's nothing behind it or anything like that. I don't know. There's just not a lot on that card that you go, wow.
Yeah, but their bank. I mean, they're probably spent a little bit. Pettis makes good money.
Yeah. Well,
Pettis makes good money. That's why when you see Kayla Harrison on the card, there's only 2 other fights on the whole card.
hey,
They're like, look, we don't even got enough money
It's
to pay
expensive.
the undercard. It's just expensive.
it's expensive.
Kayla Harrison's worth every penny to them, though, too. I mean, just being honest. Hey, Pettis, Clawlard, there's a handful of fighters in the PFL. I'm like, I try to watch every single time they fight. Is Ray Cooper, Magomed Karamov, Pettis, who else? Collard. I like Jeremy Stevens, so I'll watch Jeremy because I like Jeremy. Who else is on these? Lance Palmer. I've been following Bubba a little bit because I like Bubba.
I like Bubba.
I mean, he's getting better. He's getting better every single. Chris Wade,
Yeah.
obviously. I like
Chris
Chris
Wade's
Wade.
been-
Hey,
Chris Wade's
and I want to clarify something. It was, remember when I told you it was, they almost caught Islam in a choke, that it was Drew Dober? It was actually Chris Wade. Chris Wade almost caught him in that arm and guillotine, and Islam kind of flopped to his back and got out and wiggled his way out of there and stuff. It was Chris Wade. Yeah, everyone in the comments let me know.
Yeah.
They
Well, you said Dober. I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought it was Dober, but all white people look the same.
Got it.
Hey, see for PFL, what do you think they're really trying to accomplish? Because it really does just seem like they're just paying big names money, and then they're not. But from a marketing standpoint, it doesn't feel like they really push their brand as being competitive in any means. And I wonder if that's to do with the fact they're on ESPN and they're not really trying to compete with UFC. But
No,
it just feels like they're not. Where Bellator
They're-
actually looks like competition in the sport. PFL just seems like it's there just to exist as an alternative for the audience, or as an addition for the audience.
John, you want to take this one? You want me to take it?
Go ahead. I'll back you up.
It's
or I'll tear you apart.
it's a tech company type thing. It's a smart cage. They're advertising to people.
Bingo.
That are in the
they're
tech
advertising
world,
a
basically.
difference.
Yeah.
We're different.
Yep.
When
What
they're
they've
not.
done is they have the smart cage, which is I don't think there's anything smart about it, but they'll let you know that the takedowns are good and that this many strikes were thrown. I think it's a cool concept if they were using real numbers, but they're not. And so that's the only thing. I would think of, the footwork, the speed, they talk about all that stuff. It's not. I don't believe. From what I heard, it's not real. There's numbers. Sure, they make it the best they can, but it's no different than the copy strikes you get from boxing, or the significant strikes you get from the UFC and Bellator and takedowns and all that stuff. I mean, it's just not accurate. John did the one of the fights we did in Seattle. He's like, I've seen this guy get 2 takedowns. 0 takedowns. He's 0 for 2. No. He's 2 and 2, buddy. I was thinking the same thing. I can't remember what fight it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, the striking and stats and all that stuff. It doesn't matter what organization. Doesn't matter in boxing. Doesn't matter. They're not always accurate. So when people bank on the fact that he landed 100 significant strikes, he probably only landed about 44.
And that's all about who's pressing the button.
Yeah, that's true.
None of it. CompuStrikes, significant strikes, whatever, smart cage. None of it's worth a damn if the guy or girl that's pushing that button isn't doing their job correctly or right or, effectively.
Yeah, if they're not paying attention. Or it's like,
like you said, up in Tacoma. I watched 2 takedowns. You've given him none. Way to go. Okay?
Yeah, I did
you
too.
just proved to me you people are not worth a damn.
So like a tech company then, are they just basically trying to sell, are they trying to like put their tech on display to become like something worth paying for?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that tech company's probably bought their way into the PFL a little bit and then helped sponsor it and then to show that they have real time, that they can gather information and stats and stuff at real time and then project it onto the screen and show everyone that, hey, I got the head strikes, I've got the speed of this punch, I broke, and so their stats are shown that way to whatever company may be out there that's looking for something like that.
Forever,
and then on top of it,
forever in fighting, they've been trying to come up with ways of collecting data that makes them people different. And this is not just the PFL, this is in boxing, this is everything. They've got sensors that they want to put in gloves that it'll demonstrate how hard that punch was. No, it doesn't.
No.
And that's the problem, and we showed them, I put gloves on with their sensors and I would hit something just 2 different ways, same exact power as far as how hard I'm throwing it. And they would say, yeah, but see, it's showing a difference. No, it's not. It's the way that the glove hits the objects is altering the way that, it's saying one's hard, one's not. Or no, they're both hard. But your glove is, your sensor is saying one's not, when, again, your information becomes false. Yeah. So the thing with the PFL is, every business, I don't care what business, the UFC, when it first came out, was it for sale? No. Then all of a sudden it did become for sale. And then the person who bought it, were they going to sell it? No, but eventually they did sell it. And then Lorenzo Fertitta had it, and he was never going to sell it, right? Because it was never going to be, for public, and never going to. All businesses. The reason you have the business is to build it up and to sell it. Bellator has been sold. They were bought. The PFL has switched brands from the World Series of Fighting to the PFL. Yes, they're trying to create a concept that eventually will sell to someone because someone looks at it and thinks that, that MMA, it's sold for $4.2 billion, which is stupid. Don't look at the PFL and the way the UFC sold, but they will because they're not really part of the sport, and they're going to see they're different too. They have the smart cage stuff. So I understand what the PFL is trying to do, but in the end, Josh, it comes down to the fights. And if you're the matchmaker in these fights, you've got to at least look and say, this is a fight that I shouldn't put back together right away, or this is one that I should. And, I think you're also going off of how much money someone's making, and maybe that is part of it because I'm not there as part of their finances and knowing it. I don't.
I mean, or they, because like you said, you have 2 people that are undefeated and now they're fighting each other in the semis.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, which I agree with you. I don't understand. Neither one of us understand that. But then if you're going to have it the way you're having it, then you need to basically write out like how the NFL does. The best team in the record plays the least team in the record, or it's number 2 actually because the first team has a bye. But you know what I'm saying? Like the best plays the worst, the best. Then it works its way down. Like number 1 plays number whatever.
I think they're going off of their point system, which makes it to where Anthony didn't he get a first round stoppage in his first fight?
Yeah, I think so.
It was 6 points, and then he loses, but he's got 6 points. And so, but again, who are you fighting? And that makes a difference, and it's the way they match it up and stuff. And I don't know. I just look when I have
shorten the gap. Maybe shorten the gap of points. It shouldn't be 6 points. It should be 3 points or 4 points. You get 4 points for a first round finish, and then you shorten it. So then it's not such a big gap. As soon as Pettis won that first one and no one else finished, he was already in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a little dangerous. I guess it benefits you to try it, but then you end up with guys like Tafia, whatever was his name, Manfio and OAM, where they're just okay. If we're out here doing it, we're both in the playoffs. We're just chilling. Okay,
But they're not both in the playoffs, are they?
I thought
I thought Matfield didn't make it.
Oh, maybe he didn't. Maybe he was on a.
And that was their champion from last year.
Yeah, from the year before. See, John, I told you guys can get better. Other fighters got better in the process. See, new people. All right, hey, that's gonna wrap up our PFL talk. Let's jump right into the UFC talk. They've got a card this weekend. It's a big step up in competition though for our man Hill, for Jamal Hill. And this show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag brings you some of the best gambling odds across the world. And we want to thank them for continuing to sponsor this show and bring you guys these odds for all of our listeners. Our listeners have made a lot of money off MyBookie.ag using our promo code weighing in. Use that little QR code right there that Podcast Dave's going to put up for you guys. We want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. If you guys were able to listen to us the last couple of weeks, you guys were able to make a little bit of extra spending cash at MyBookie.ag using that promo code weighing in. I think it's going to be, the speed's going to be a difference. I know that Santos is explosive. I know that he's got powerful hands, but he also he kind of fights scared. I know he's not scared to fight, you guys, okay? That's not, you guys got to take into consideration of what I'm saying.
Fights cautiously at times.
He fights cautiously at times, and he fights off of his back foot, and he allows people to push him around. For someone who has as much power as he has and a fucking big-ass hammer tattooed on his chest, you'd think he'd be the bully. All right? You'd think he would be the hammer and less of the nail sometimes. I love it. But he does have a dog. John, I wouldn't know that, buddy.
Well, a big hammer on his chest, you stupid jerk.
Sure. John talking about Blue Chew now. Jeez. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, Jamal Hill's got the speed. He's got power as well.
Yes, he does.
He has one of those body types, though, John, that you look at him and go, you don't have power.
Yes, he does.
But he does.
At times you look and people will look at a body style and they'll go, oh, look, Jamal Hill's athletic. He's fast. He moves well. You can see the balance and the coordination that he has. The guy's an athlete. Now, Thiago Santos, he's got that Greek god-looking body and stuff with a giant Thor hammer on his chest. But that doesn't make him any faster than Jamal Hill. I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either.
I think it matches up pretty well. And right now, confidence-wise going in here, I think Jamal Hill's got a lot of confidence going into this fight. I think he believes in himself. And one thing he does have, I think he's got a reach advantage in this fight, which is going to cause Santos to do exactly what you're talking about. He becomes a little overly cautious and he doesn't come in. If you go back to Santos's early fights, he used to just go after people.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy, maybe a little bit too fast at times, but that's what made him so fun to watch. And then, that has slowed down, and I understand why it slowed down as you get into the upper, levels of competition and stuff. But Jamal Hill's going to be there for him. Jamal Hill's the real deal. I like Jamal Hill.
The way I look at it is that Santos swings a little bit wild. He's a little reckless when he does throw, and when he fights off of his back foot, he throws hard. When he fights off of his back foot, he loads up and then throws. Jamal Hill is somebody that is a little bit more pinpoint accurate with his strikes, and he's got the speed and the reach to get there first. I don't see this working out very well for Santos.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, but it is also a big step up in competition. Jamal Hill main eventing this fight, fighting someone who has fought, John Jones, fought for titles, been there in the top levels for a while. He's fought all the best guys in this division. Yeah. Jamal Hill just getting to that level right now.
That's right.
This is his chance to go ahead and
this is one of those ones. This is one of those ones where the matchmakers are going, all right, I'm going to give you a chance to prove to me that, you're still in this upper level if you're Thiago Santos. And they're saying, all right, I'm giving you a chance as Jamal Hill to prove to me you deserve to you can beat the guys at that level and you're going to go ahead of them. I understand the matchup. It makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next fight.
Well, hold on, Josh. Before we get into the co-main, I do just want to say, for those of you on YouTube that are using the timestamps to jump right to the UFC talk at 45 minutes, there was some good conversation in the PFL talk that wasn't just about PFL, about, Josh talked about the rankings, his issues there. He talked about the PFL and the tech and how these companies set themselves up to be sold. So there was a lot of good conversation there that wasn't just PFL. So if you're not interested in the PFL talk, alone, make sure you use the timestamps that I'm gonna add for the other stuff, for the other good conversation, because there was some good stuff in there. So just want to get that in there for the people that are only here for the UFC stuff. There was a lot of good conversation at the first 45 minutes there.
The biggest thing I want everyone to remember is just hit the like and subscribe button. Okay, if you guys want to just scroll through, I'm cool with it. It is what it is. You guys want to scrub through. You're going to find that a lot of people that it's funny because now I read because I've always read the comments, but people now are getting on the other people about just scrubbing through. They're like, why don't you just watch the whole thing, you fucking casual? And so I love it. I don't have to say anything. I allow our fans to go ahead and do it now, our listeners, and I love it. Like our listener, Amanda, there's this listener we have. Her name is Amanda. And so she,
I can't say
and so
anything.
she sticks out.
You're going to get you. Josh is going to get his ass kicked.
Yeah. I'm gonna. It's gonna be great.
You're gonna love every minute.
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna smash me. So, anyways, yeah. The overall card though is gonna be good. I think it's gonna be a good card. You've got Vicente Luque making his return after his loss to Bilal Muhammad and
against Jeff Neal. That's a great fight.
Yeah,
I like that fight. Both guys, heavy hands. Jeff Neal more boxing centric as far as Vicente throws a little bit more in kicks. Vicente will go to the ground more readily than Jeff Neal will. I'm not sure that he's going to end up going to the ground with Jeff as far as being able to take him down, but that's a great matchup. I think that's going to be fight of the night. I think they're going to stand there and just beat the dog shit out of each other because Luque will do that. And he's done that with fighters in the past. He's had guys like Brian Barberena, which was one of I love that fight. It doesn't get the credit it deserves. He will just plant his feet and start throwing. And it's not the best thing to do. I'm not saying it's the smartest thing to do, but damn, it's entertaining. And Jeff Neal will definitely do the same thing. So I think this is the fight that I'm looking at. That co-main event, I think that's fight of the night.
Yeah, it's kind of, it really depends on where Vicente Luque's mind is at. After his last fight, he hadn't lost in a while, coming back and just letting it go, putting that last one behind you, moving on to the next one. But obviously a way different style of fight, so he's not so much concerned about the takedown. He's going to stand, he's going to trade. But in the last fight, he was very hesitant, and he was afraid of being taken down. And when he did get taken down, there was no real effort to get back up. He's kind of just hanging out in that position instead of making those efforts to get back up. And that's tough when you're talking in a 5-round fight because they were the main event. And it didn't live up to the hype. I think a lot of people expected a lot more from Vicente Luque, and it didn't deliver. This fight, I hope he doesn't go out there and try to do too much, leave himself open. That's one. Two is, how much is it weighing on his mind? Shit, I was like almost next in line for a title shot, and now I'm pushed to the bottom again. I'm back into number 6, number 5, number 6. I'm being pushed down. There's a lot at stake at every single time you fight, especially for the guys that are in the top 10. And so I want to know what his confidence is going to be like. Is he going to be timid to throw? Is he going to just let it all hang out? Is he going to, did that last fight upset him? Is he going to come out and just put the work on him? Or is he going to fight cautiously because he's afraid to lose again?
That's the question.
There's a lot of questions to be answered.
That is a good question, because if you are afraid of the outcome not going your way, you're not going to do the things at times that are going to get you that win. And so he's got to just be the guy that you've been. I look at it and say 2 good wins, he's right back in that picture.
Yeah.
Now that's not easy for him to go through. That's 2 wins against 2 tough people, because Jeff Neal, he's a tough dude too. And to get past Jeff Neal is not an easy thing. But that's just the way that, in my opinion, if you're Vicente Luque, you got to look at it and say, look, I need 2 good wins. 2 good wins, and I'm right where I want to be. And I think that is exactly, where it is for him. Jeff Neal, he's going to have a couple more. That's a little bit tougher and stuff. But Jeff Neal has got to do the same thing, as far as he's got to just keep on winning, because he's been that guy that got to that point and then lost the fight and dropped down and stuff. So both guys have been there. Both guys know the seriousness and the consequences of this fight. That's why I think it's going to be a great one.
John, I can't help, I'm looking at the rest of this card, but I can't help look at how in the fuck is Sam Alvey still fighting?
Yeah. And the guy he's fighting is not, that's not a good fight for him. Yeah.
I had to skip
Mikel-
down to it because I was scrolling through it. I'm like, what in the fuck? What are you guys doing?
Take a look at how many losses in a row.
I know. I think it's 7, right? Well, he's got a draw in there. I
4,
believe.
5, 6, 7 plus a draw. Yeah.
Plus a draw.
Yeah.
I love Sam Alvey. Super good
Yes.
guy, man. As nice a person as you will ever meet in the sport. His whole family, his wife, who's always there with him and stuff. But he's slowed down, and it's made the difference in his ability to, Sam always, although he looked, he's just, this guy with his gimmick of the smiling stuff. Look, he had speed in his hands, and he had power. He doesn't have speed anymore. It's not there. He's been hurt, quite often, and it's taking a toll on him. And against, the guy, Oleksiejczuk, this guy's a stud standing up, and he likes to, throw hard shots, and he likes to take shots, and Sam cannot take shots with him. Obviously, Sam's power, I think, is still there. His ability to deliver that power and get it on target before he gets hit is the problem. And who knows? I cannot say why. They've kept Sam as long as they have. I know that, first off, he doesn't cost them a ton. He's a good guy, and they like him, and I don't blame him. And, I like him too. It's just, I would have thought, 6 losses in a row. Yeah, he would have been done. But he's not, and he's still there. And so good luck to him, man. I hope he does well. I just look at that matchup. That's not a good matchup for him.
No. Augusto Sakai versus Spivak.
Augusto Sakai. Yeah, that's
Augusto.
Augusto. Augusto's that guy. You talk about. He doesn't look the part. He's got his body. It's gotten better because he was really heavy at one time in his life. But he's gotten better. But his skill level. He's got good technique in the stand up. He's got good kicks. His hands are good. He moves well for a big guy, but he's taken some big shots lately, and it's a matter of you can't take those shots. You've got to be smart. No. Stop at a certain point in the fight, biting down and just trading with another big, heavy, strong guy. That's not your way to win. Get away from that. Andrei Arlovsky has showed Augusto Sakai exactly what he needs to do to be successful in the heavyweight division with a chin that's been touched a couple of times now, but still get wins. Andrei Arlovsky changed who he was as a fighter. He stopped getting into the brawls, and you could look at some of it, his fight against Travis Brown, Arlovsky's unbelievable fight. But even with it, he got hurt, dropped. He gets the win, but he's even gotten away from that. Now you see Andre, he comes in, he lands a couple shots. He's circling out. He does not just plant his feet and throw. He's picking you apart. He's just consistently putting volume shots on you. Every now and then he might put a big shot on you. That, in my opinion, is the game plan for Augusto Sakai to stay in the heavyweight division of the UFC and get wins. And he can do it against someone like Spivak, who's a big target and pretty flat-footed. He doesn't move real well. He's strong. Don't get into the damn brawl with him. Be the technician. Be the guy that just puts volume on it, and you can get a win.
It's funny that you say, like, when you see guys that have, think about guys that we've seen in whether it's in MMA, period. They just don't look the part. But they got fast hands. They got good boxing. They got great cardio. I mean, Fedor being one of them. But, I mean, like, I look at Paul Bonatello.
Oh, yeah.
Fast jab. Had fast hands. Fast hands, looked like a big Teletubby. Just didn't look fit. Had great cardio, pushed the
like
pace.
A big Teletubby.
He was a big guy, man.
That's why they called him the burrito.
And he hated working out. He just wanted to spar, hit the bag, and hit mitts. He hated grappling. He didn't even, my back hurts today. I can't really. But he just sparred 3 rounds. Like, I'm going to hit mitts later tonight. I can't do that cardio. And I'm like, okay, whatever, man. He was that guy. I'm going to run later tonight. Sure you are, buddy. You're going to run to the burrito factory. Jeez.
He's a good
this
guy.
Man. But there's a lot of guys that just didn't look the part. And there was that Egyptian guy that fought last weekend on the card. He had a great fight.
Yeah.
He He didn't look the part, but damn, he was good. He had good cardio. He pushed himself into that. For heavyweights to move that much weight around and have still something left in the gas tank in the third round to really get the win.
Yep.
He won the first round dominantly, and he lost the second round dominantly. He got dominated in the second round. And then in the third round, he put together a great game plan and came out and got the win. He was exhausted, but that's what you expect from big guys like that. The carrying all that, he fought his way through it. Great stuff, man. Yeah. And I look at when we talk about people, don't let the appearance of the body fool you. There's a ton of fighters out there that are fucking savages, and they don't look the part.
Yep.
I mean, if you really wanted to criticize, look at my boy DC.
Yep.
You know, at heavyweight, he didn't look great. At 205, I thought he looked phenomenal at 205, but even then, he still had a little bit of a.
Wow, are you being nice, man? I tell you, for a guy that's all about the body and stuff and the way someone looks, you know, you got to go back to DC's college days to say, man, he looked phenomenal.
Oh man,
he did look phenomenal back then.
He looked great back then. Yeah, no homo either. He looked great back then. Yeah. He has pictures of himself up in the gym, up on his mural wall, like his padded mural wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, who the hell is that kid? He's like, that's me, fool. That's me. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. In college, dude, that dude was a stud. You looked at him, God damn, man. Yep.
If Kale Sanderson wasn't there, he would have been a national champ.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he lost to him. I want to say he lost to him twice, maybe just once, but I think
it's rough when you're that guy that is in that position where the greatest American wrestler, one of them, you could say John Smith, and a lot of people are going to say Dan Gable, but John Smith really is the guy if you're looking. But Cale Sanderson, unbelievable. The only guy in Division I to ever go undefeated, throughout his career, goes to the Olympics, wins the gold medal, is unbelievable coaching, everything he's done. And you're that number 2 guy behind him in the same weight class. That was Dan Cormier. That's a rough one.
Well, Daniel threw out that, remember that comment he said to John Jones, I'm that other kid on the other end of the bracket that every time you check to see if my name's there. Well, unfortunately, DC knows that because that was Kale. It's like, damn it, you're there.
Yep.
So it's a shitty situation to be in, but, hey. But don't let the bodies fool you guys. Got to tune in, watch those fights, and check out the guys, even if they don't look great. They can gunsling. So good stuff. Lipsky versus Kachera. What's her name?
Huh?
How you say her last name?
Priscilla Kachera.
Kachera.
Yeah. Kachera.
She's the one they tried to eye gouge, right, at the very end?
Yes.
Yeek.
She is.
I did. See, that's the thing, John. I remember her fights, but I remember her for that.
Yeah.
Don't do those things.
No.
That's if you're a young fighter.
That's not the way to be remembered. Because she's a tough fighter.
She is. Yeah. No, she's very talented, by the way.
And she's tough.
She's very talented. She's tough.
You remember when she came into the UFC, who she came in against? Her first fight?
Nuh-uh.
She fought this girl named Valentina Shevchenko.
I never heard of her. Is she any good?
Yeah, she's pretty good. Yeah, she's pretty good.
She's all right.
Yeah, she's all right. Yeah, but
Lipsky Lipsky coming off of a loss, I believe. Can you look that up, Dave? Who did she lose to last? I might be wrong, but
she didn't lose last. She lost.
Last one was Mandy Bone. Yeah.
Just lost. She lost.
Okay. So Lipsky, I was thinking of someone else. Anyways, Lipsky's trains out of American Top Team, I really believe, right? She's out of that group.
I don't think so.
Oh, American Top Team, you're right.
Yeah, American Top Team. I think she's at ATT. Yeah, because I think she's the one that Colby Covington was saying, oh yeah, said like she tried to hang out with me, and I told her no. And he said something about her, and then she answered back and talked shit back to him.
Colby Covington wishes.
Hey, don't talk about the welterweight champ like that.
Okay, I won't.
The welterweight champ.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that.
Oh man, she's good though. She's tough. She's good. I don't know if she can handle the aggressiveness and just the nastiness. Obviously, the nastiness of Kachera, however you say her last name,
Priscilla.
But I don't know if Priscilla. Priscilla's she's a dog, man, and I'm not trying to be rude. She's a dog. She's gonna be aggressive. She's gonna come forward. She's gonna be making a dirty, grimy fight. She's gonna try to get into Lipsky's face. Lipsky's a stick and move, touch. Very good off of her back as well. I just think that strength's gonna be a little bit of a factor, and then just the grittiness of the fight's gonna be a little bit of a factor. Can Priscilla throw her off her game by being just overly aggressive, just like a dog, just chasing after her, getting after her, being nasty.
Yep.
And we're going to find that out. All right, well, hey, we've got a lot of news to talk about, so we're going to wrap this up. Is there any other fights on there you want to talk about, John?
Look, Terrence McKinney against Eric Gonzalez. That is going to be a good fight. I like Terrence McKinney. As he had, was coming on real fast. Had the one loss. Don't worry about it. The kid is dynamic. He's fast. You got Mohammed Usman, the brother of.
Yes, I was going to ask you that.
Yes, it is the brother, a heavyweight. Okay, so you could have the heavyweight champ. No, I'm just kidding. But he's facing because he's Usman's talking about going to light heavyweight, so I said you could have the heavyweight champion and the light heavyweight. Now, okay, but look, Usman coming off of the the Ultimate Fighter show and stuff. So this is a good matchup. This is a tough fight. We'll see how he does under the bigger lights. He's gonna have it. Go ahead,
John. I want to see Usman versus Usman. Boom! Let's
brother
go.
Versus brother.
It won't happen.
Don't think it's been done.
I know, but he won't fight. He won't even fight Habib. So he's my brother. Okay, now you're talking about his real brother. Nah, he ain't gonna happen. All right, well, hey, that's gonna wrap up our UFC talk. Let's jump right into some news. Dave's got some news for us, so let's go, baby.
All right. So just real quick before we actually hit the subject, so we are going to talk about Nunes versus Shevchenko 3 potential on the 5-round main event, and so we're going to give like a quick little take on it. So if you guys are watching on YouTube or if you're listening on audio, scroll down into the description of the podcast episode, and then that first link under the description says Weighing In Extra. Click that link. That'll take you to the Weighing In Extra YouTube channel. Is the only place you can watch 5-round main event. So we're going to talk about the Nunes Shevchenko stuff, and we have a bunch of other stuff to address on there, including Bilal Muhammad's comments about Nunes. So make sure if you guys want to hear about that stuff, click that link, subscribe to that channel, and then you'll see when that drops on Thursday morning. All right. So the first subject we're going to talk about, guys, is Dana White. Dana White's comments on people talking about Chris Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. So the media actually asked him this question, so it's not like I'm just bringing this out of thin air. People are asking about it. Dana White said that he doesn't see why that fight should come to fruition because she dominated Cyborg, and he made a point to say, I'm not just shitting on her because of the history we have. He's like, she actually texted me saying happy birthday, so I appreciate that. It was really nice of her to do that. But just that fight doesn't make sense to me. And then, of course, we're talking about the Juliana Pena rematch. Brendan Schaub had some comments about that trilogy fight not making sense because this last fight just was not competitive. And then, of course, everybody wants Shevchenko Nunes 3 because they're the two best in the female divisions right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get your thoughts.
Well, so my thoughts are the fight to make would be Cyborg and Nunes, but is she going to go up to 45? She's going to go back up to 45.
Yeah.
This last fight was at 35. She's obviously looked phenomenal. She's got the weight down. She looked fantastic. But let's not kid ourselves. The fight with Cyborg is not going to happen for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah,
it's not just because it wasn't competitive. It was very competitive in that one round of action. It was back and forth until she got clipped, and then she got rocked, and the rest of it was history. But Cyborg had clipped her as well and hit her pretty damn hard as well. So the two of them were going back and forth in that exchange. And when you have two fighters that are willing to stand and throw and exchange, that shit can happen. Now, for him to say that, look, he's not shitting on her. I agree, he's not shitting on her. No. It was one of those fights where it's in a one round. When you have that much action in one round, that's what's going to happen. Someone's going to get knocked out, and that's the way it goes. In terms of the Nunes fight, I don't think they should run it back. And we said this last week. I said I think Nunes needs. Pena. Okay. I said the Pena fight. I think there needs to be Pena needs to fight one fight. Whether it's Caitlin Vieira or is it Caitlin Vieira?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whether it's Caitlin Vieira or someone else, she needs to fight one more fight and then, make some adjustments, get a win, get her confidence up, do whatever. She doesn't lack in confidence. We know that. No. But I'm saying just to get her mind right, to give her a chance to focus on, okay, look, let me get somebody else on my mind. I've had you on my mind for the last 6 months. Let me get somebody else on my mind, get a win, come back, refocus on you. That sounds fair to me. And then also too, when we're talking about rematches, Amanda Nunes has proven herself in both weight classes. She deserved the automatic rematch in the way that fight went down. She made some tweaks and she came back and proved she deserved the automatic rematch. Juliana Pena, that fight, because she proved that she's a dog. She proved that she's going to continue to be a fighter. She proved all those things, but we already knew that about her. But she needs to prove to get better in some areas to beat Nunes. She needs to prove that she can wrestle better. She needs to prove that, she's got great attacks off of her back, but she needs to try to get on top. She proved that she can stand and she can trade, but she also proved that she's got a granite chin, and you can't rely on that chin for the rest of your career. So she's got to make those changes defensively. And I saw people commenting on the bottom when I was reading it. Oh no, Amanda changed southpaw because it got rid of Pena's jab. No. You don't know that. That's one thing. I don't know that either, by the way. I said that I thought she changed southpaw because it took away the wrestling, because a lot of wrestlers aren't used to fighting one direction and wrestling the other way. You see a lot of top-level wrestlers, they'll switch their stance because they shoot with their right leg foot. If you notice that Juliana had no concept of really shooting on a southpaw, she was really just punching her way into the clinch. And so you could say a bunch of things, but you don't know and I don't know. And that's kind of how this is all going to work out. I've got the microphone, so I got the louder voice, so I'm going to say what I want to say. And that's what comics do when they're on stage and someone starts to heckle them. I really believe, let's just say it was to get rid of the jab. Whatever the game plan was, Amanda Nunes' game plan worked fantastically, and Pena doesn't deserve the automatic title shot. Now, in terms of Shevchenko, sign me up. I want to see it all day long. But if Amanda Nunes comes out and fights her the way that she fought Pena, Shevchenko's got her hands full. She got her hands full. I would have had Shevchenko beaten Amanda Nunes, the one that Juliana Pena beat, not this one. That motivation, John, that little thing just trickled up in there, man. Little thing trickled up in there because look, Nunes got 2 wins over Shevchenko. Whether you think they're split decisions, whether they were close or not, whether you thought someone should have won or not, still 2 wins. She's already proven that she sometimes will just, okay, I got this. She just proved that one fight ago. And now she's like, oh, I don't have this. I gotta
have to work
that fire a little bit. I have to work at this. She may not be that way again with Shevchenko because she's got 2 wins over her. Whatever. If I lose to her, I can just fight her again. You never know. You never know how fighters think.
All right, I'm going to go with, I do not think that Dana is shitting on Cyborg. He doesn't have her under contract, so it's not even a fight that he can make. So why am I going to even talk about it? It doesn't make sense as far as I can't do it. So, that's not part of the conversation. Is it a rematch that should take place? Yes. I think it would be a great rematch. And if Cyborg was still signed by the UFC, I guarantee you that rematch either would take place or would have already. It's a fight that people, they like to see. They know power is in both, women both in their hands have power. There's going to be an explosive ending, be it Cyborg going down or Amanda going down. So, but Dana can't make that fight, so why is he going to talk about it? When you take a look at the Pena situation, I understand what you're saying, and I think you're right. Based upon the last performance here, I thought Juliana proved so many things as far as how tough she is and everything, but you can't get beat basically every round of a 5-round fight and think that you're going to get an automatic rematch when this was your first title defense. The Shevchenko fight, although if you sit there and you go off of Dana and say, oh, dominant, well, I've got one fighter that's got 2 wins and one fighter that's got 0 wins, but that fight makes sense. That fight is one that you need to see. Shevchenko against Amanda, I think you're right. Based upon Shevchenko's last performance and Amanda's last performance, I think Amanda ends up right now. She'd be the favorite in the fight. She'd be the one getting the win. But anything can happen, and it could be. It's all about motivation and where someone's mind's at and where they are that day. Shevchenko is good enough she can beat anyone. Amanda is good enough that she can beat anyone. It's just whose night is it that night, who's going to perform the best, who's going to have the best game plan, who's going to be able to implement that game plan the best. So Cyborg's out of the equation for Amanda Nunes. She's with a different promotion unless the UFC re-signs her. If they re-sign her, you will see her against Nunes.
Well, see, so it's not out of the question. It's up to Dana White because Scott Coker's already said he's made it very clear.
It's out of the question because if she's not under contract,
John.
the UFC is not. They've got a basic thing. We will not use someone who's not under contract to us. Why are they going to put a fighter in a position to win their belt when they don't have her under contract? They're not going to do that.
John, never say never.
Okay. Never.
Never say never. All right, next.
All right, next story. Dan Hooker is calling out Tony Ferguson. What do you guys think about that fight?
I like that.
I like that fight.
I think that's a good fight for both. I think that's a good fight for Tony. I think it's a good fight for Dan Hooker. Mm-hmm. I like the call out. I'll smash your face in. Not too sure about that. I think it would be a really good fight. I think that's a great matchup. And yes, Tony got knocked out in his last fight, and it was knocked out in a big way. But he was actually doing well at moments in that fight, and I think that he matches up very well with Dan Hooker. I think he could submit Dan Hooker if he ends up in the top position on the ground or anything like that. He's got the ability to hurt Dan Hooker. We've seen Dan Hooker hurt. Dan Hooker has the ability to get in and light Tony up at times. I think it's a great matchup. I would love to see it.
Sign me up, man. Sign me up. I think both of them, I think it's a fantastic fight. Both are tall, long, and lanky. I'm getting a lot of flack. I haven't been saying that lately, so guess what? These two delivered.
Don't bring
tall,
that back.
Long, and lanky, baby. Tall, long, and lanky.
You stole that from Dominic Cruz.
Shut your fucking mouth right now.
Your mouth.
I didn't even want to call you a whore mouth. I just wanted to tell you to shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, which tells me you're more serious than if you said whore mouth.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's a great fight. I agree with you 100% on how this thing gets done. If Tony Ferguson gets the fight to the ground, there's a good chance he can sub him.
Yep.
Darces, anacondas, ankle locks, all those things, arm bars, triangles. I mean, he's got all the tools on the ground to get this thing done. Kimuras, it all. But I would look at this fight, and Dan Hooker on the feet possesses the power and possesses all those skills to knock him out as well, given Tony's last fight. Now, like you said, it happens, man. You fight long enough, these things fucking happen. And when you fight the best guys, like he's been fighting for the longest time, it's going to happen.
Look at the list of guys that Tony has fought in his last.
Hey, whoa. Let's not bring up the list, okay? Let's move on. Anyways.
Wow.
My boy trying to throw me under over here. Look at the list. Look, there's Josh's name right there in the middle.
I was not talking about his wins. I was talking about his, he's got a string of losses. But let's take a look at those, who he's facing. Yeah. Justin Gaethje, right? Freaking Charles Oliveira, Beneil, and then Michael Chandler. Look, he ain't getting any easy fights.
No, he's not. Good stuff. All right, let's go. What's next there, Dave?
All right, last thing we're going to wrap up on is Shane Burgos, and he is about to put his toes into some free agency. There was comments from Dana White recently that he said he would love to re-sign him, type of guy. He loves to sign, blah, blah, blah. But Shane Burgos obviously, is now interested in what the paycheck looks like.
I've said it. I can't say it enough.
How many times do you have to say it? Shane Burgos would be a fool not to test what's out there. Doesn't mean that he can't go back to the UFC. Yeah. But you're going to find out what your value is, and is the UFC putting you in that same evaluation of what other people will, and what is it you're fighting for?
You're fighting for money.
Hello.
Let's not forget that. Here's the thing. Notice how Dana is handling this in comparison to Nate. The reason being is that he knows that Nate is kind of getting older, kind of aging out,
and wants out,
and Nate wants out, and doesn't want to deal with the headaches. Shane's gonna keep fighting, but Shane's Dave, can you pull up how old Shane is? I can't see the TV part is gone. I don't know why. But just tell me what it is. I want to say he's 29, maybe he's 31. I can't remember. But as Shane Burgos, he's got plenty of time still left on. He's 31. He's got plenty of time. He's in his prime. 31, 32, 33. This is the time he should be making the most money on any contract. Yep. Fighters got to start looking at their contracts. in terms of how the NFL does it a little bit with players. Look, the running back, they peak at like ages 26, 27. Then no one wants to sign a 30-year-old running back. That's kind of how you got to look at fighting. That 27 to 32, that is your prime to make as much money as you can. And those are the prime years of you fighting the best guys. It should be the time where you fighting the best guys or females. And so if that's the case, your contracts, you should be making the most money between the ages of 27 to 32, 33, somewhere in there. Before and the after is the before is your workup, like Aspinall was doing. And then your after is what legacy you've built during that time, and if you can still continue to piggyback off of all the hard work that you've done in that prime ages of 27 to 32. Young fighters, man, just go out and test the market. Dana White, look at how he's handling him. He's treating him a little bit with respect. I'd love to re-sign him. I'd like to do this. With Nate, I can't even fucking talk to the guy. Can't have a conversation, which is probably true. But it's like I can't even talk to the guy. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? He wants to fight Francis Ngannou. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? Dana got the fight he wanted. He's fighting Chimaev, and he moves on. Okay, that's Nate. Nate's out the door. But other fighters, if you guys all continue to do what Shane Burgos is doing, you're gonna help make everybody else more money. That's one. Two is you're gonna optimize how much money you make. And three is, sure, you may end up in another promotion, but Anthony Johnson's already proved that you can go to another promotion and come back and make triple what you were making. AJ was cut from the UFC for not making weight. He went to the World Series of Fighting. Fought at heavyweight, just said in there, I never want to fight for your title. Didn't fight for his title, came back, UFC signed him for more than triple than what he was making. He crushed it on the comeback. He got settled in at heavyweight in 205. Then he came back over and he understood he could make 205 and fight at a competitive level. That was perfect for him. He had great fights over there. He made a ton of fucking money. Ton of money. Okay, and now he's with the Bellator. He's going through some issues, some health concerns, but he can go from promotion to promotion, make a lot of money. Some of you fighters, you guys, there's nothing that says once you go to Bellator, once you go to PFL, you can't come back.
Oh no,
you're gonna go do your 4 fights, sign 4-fight deals during these times where you feel like you're the best fighter in the world. Sign short-term deals, don't sign long-term deals, and structure your money to be the best. To make as much money as you can. And when you have UFC versus Bellator, Bellator versus PFL, and PFL versus UFC and ONE and all these other companies, you're going to go to the highest bidder. And no one ever says, and that's where people think that you can't come back. Oh no, you can come back if you keep winning. That's the thing. You got to keep winning. And that's where I think people get concerned. Oh, if I lose in the UFC, at least I'm losing in this organization. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't matter if you win and Anthony proved it. If you win in PFL or World Series of Fighting, you'll come back to the UFC and you'll make a killing. Then when he was fighting in the UFC, he went over to Bellator. He's making a freaking killing, or he made a killing for his fight. A killing. He's gonna keep making it if he makes a comeback. It's there. Check the be a free agent every single time. Be a free agent.
Yeah. Just to check what your value is. You know, I'm trying to think of, is it Tomas Stolik? I can't think. Fights at KSW. He was their middleweight. He just beat Kaladov. What's his name? He just signed with ONE. I'm trying to think of his, I'm screwing up his name. He's really a good fighter. Tough dude. You and I were both talking to him in Ireland. And I was talking about, hey, look, because he wanted to go to the UFC. And I said, I don't blame you. And if that's your main thing is you just have to fight for that company, I said, then do it. I said, but understand they're going to devalue you going in, and your value is more than what they're going to give you, but you have to be willing to accept that if you're saying that's the company that I have to fight for. I said, sign a short contract. Get those wins, and then they'll re-sign you for more money. I said, or you can go to someone else that's going to sign you for a lot of money right now, and you don't care about. And what did he do? He just went and signed with ONE FC, making a ton of money. He decided, like we said, you're a prize fighter, dude. Is it about the initials out there or the company, or is it about you putting money in the bank and taking care of your family? And that's what he decided to do. And he just last week signed with one and said it was for a lot of money. Dave, see if you can pull that up real quick. I don't know if
what's his name? Stolik?
I don't want to say Stolik. You can
One
go
FC signing.
He was with KSW. KSW champion signs with one, you could say. Something like that.
Well, here, look. So, but here's the thing, John. I'm going to throw a little wrench in there because the issue with one is that they don't fight you enough. So he signed a 4-fight deal. It could take him 4 years.
I don't know if he signed. I don't know what.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but that's the problem. I think when I talk about other organizations, I always try to include one, but when it comes to the contract stuff, I don't include them.
Yeah,
because they don't have as many fights. They're not as active. Now I know that they just signed a deal with Amazon Prime to show, I think, 6 or 7 shows on Amazon Prime. Congratulations to them. But in that being said, how many, are they going to use all their fighters? Because I've noticed that how much someone makes on that card, the rest of the card is, sometimes only 5-6 fights on the card because whoever makes the most money, if there's 3 or 4 fighters, you got Eddie Alvarez and DJ on there with Morales and those guys. Bro, there's a lot of money on one card, then there's only 5 fights. There's 6 fights. They don't have a stacked card of 13, 14 fights. So how often are you really fighting? That's the thing. So there needs to be a time frame with them, and sometimes there's not. I've thought a lot of fighters go over there and go, hey, sure, I'm making a ton of money. And some of them even get monthly stipends. They're making, 10 grand, 15 grand. They're making 5 to 10 grand a month just to sit at home, not do anything. Train, obviously. You're supposed to be training, but
supposed to be.
Dave, did you find that?
No, I can't find the spelling of the guy's name. I searched STOILIC and LIK.
Yes, that's what it is. No, it is STOLIC, I believe.
Signing with one.
Yeah.
Yeah, with one championship.
One FC.
Dave, do you even watch the sport?
God damn. Man.
Jesus.
No, I searched them.
It seems like your brain's a
That
little
is
slow
Roberto
after
Soldic. That's
Soldic. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Roberto Soldic. So I can't spell.
Well,
no.
Hold on against me.
I'm glad he finally admitted it on the podcast.
All right. From MMA fighting, Roberto Soldic parts ways with KSW, signs with one championship.
Look.
Does it say anything in there?
Josh,
Multi-fight deal?
As soon as you see him, you'll know. You've seen him fight. The dude's a stud.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
middleweight,
but this
middleweight
is
and welterweight. Oh, he was in those divisions. Yeah, I'll read through this and I'll report on.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, let's
So do you want me to read his quote off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so his quote is, I chose one because it's the biggest martial arts promotion in the world. They give me opportunity to take all the belts: kickboxing world champion, Muay Thai world champion, MMA world champion, also boxing world champion. So this makes me something new. I want to create something for my people, for my own legacy, so I chose one for sure. After I went to Singapore and I saw the atmosphere with Mr. Chatri, how he treats the fighters, relationships, and he gave me the best offer. He said to me, "You can be a unique fighter, and I will give you the chance to take different belts from the combat sports." So I do all sports. I want to do something different. I want to hold the belts from all combat sports. Nobody has done this before, so this is for me the biggest challenge.
All right, we got it.
Wait, so he wants to do all the different sports?
Yeah,
and
he's right.
One?
He is right. That's the one thing about one that they offer. They offer kickboxing. I haven't seen them offer boxing, but I've seen kickboxing. No. I've seen kickboxing. I've seen MMA kickboxing. I've seen real kickboxing. But it's all done in the cage. I think it's brilliant. They do the MMA fights as well. They
Muay Thai
do a good job. Yeah, he has options. That's the one thing I can say about that. He has options. Now he was talking about Chatri and the relationship he has with the fighters and stuff. Chatri's a good guy. I mean, I've heard a lot of things, in the backdoor dealings and stuff. Oh, whoops.
What'd you do? Oh, you unplugged this.
Don't mind me. Don't mind me at all. Just I've heard a lot of things, people talking, having bad experiences with him. I've never had anything of such. He's been a great person. Every time I've talked to him, he's been very great. I worked for one for a while. Fantastic promotion. how do you say his last name? The guy who just signed
Soldic.
Soldic. He probably got skewed because I've called plenty of fights in their arena there in Singapore. He probably they wined and dined him then, because if they brought him out for that show, that's the only show that does 15,000 seat arena and just sells out every single time. It's always packed. It's always a great show. It's fantastic when you go watch the fights there. Love that. They do it again in Manila, but there's only a certain amount of promotion. There's only a certain amount of locations that they go that they sell out. Manila being one, Singapore being one, but some of the other areas they go, it's can be a little bit scarce. But the fights are fucking great, man. They're fantastic, and he is right. He has an opportunity to fight kickboxing. He's got an opportunity to fight kickboxing with MMA gloves. He's got an opportunity to fight MMA. He can fight everything. John and I are against that. I can tell by the way your face is, and we've said this. Dedicate yourself to one. Become the champion in that, and now then go dedicate yourself to something else. That's fine. But win the title there first at MMA or kickboxing or whatever it is you want to do.
Yep. Don't
try and do everything at once. You'll end up doing everything half-ass. Don't do that. So that's not a way. That's the other thing. That's not a way to keep winning and then go ahead and go to the UFC and Bellator and be like, hey, I want more money. Dude, you just got knocked out in kickboxing.
Yep.
I can't pay you that. Like, you're signed with the MMA promotion. Sure, you're fighting kickboxing in it. Doesn't matter. You just got knocked out. Nope. Winning only. That's all we want. Winning only. That's going to be their take on it.
Yeah.
So be careful. Be careful. All right. Well, hey, that's going to wrap up all of our talk today. We talked about news. We talked about the fight cards coming up this weekend. Make sure you guys tune into the PFL, which I believe is on Friday night. Mm-hmm. Is it? Mm-hmm. And then Saturday night is the UFC. Saturday, is it day or night? Saturday. Let's just say Saturday. All right, guys. I want to thank you guys so much. And John, take us away.
All right. I want to say, sorry, this went in all kinds of different directions, but sometimes that's what makes it fun.
Did.
So let's just hope that Josh can unplug his headset one more time before we finish. And we will
I knocked
see
my
you
iPad off the table earlier, too.
later.
Amateur.